Yar, mateys, I've got revenge on me mind. Welcome everyone to Yar's Revenge for the 2600. Depending on who you ask, this was either 1981 or 1982. I had a little difficulty finding that out. Yar's Revenge was one of the bigger hits for Atari's first-party game publishing, and it came at a time when they really needed it. Activision had been formed in 1979, started putting out games in 1980, and the lawsuit between Activision and Atari was finally settled in 1982. So Atari wanted to try to reestablish some first-party dominance, and this actually helped them do it. They went all out for this. Not only did this include the game itself, but there was a comic book that came with it that told the story of the Yars and their people and their enemies and how they came to be. There was even a recording, an album that was put out, which had both songs about pertaining to the game and a spoken word story about the game. So yeah, Atari went all in on this one. The programmer of this game should be absolutely familiar to you. It was none other than one Howard Scott Warshaw. If that name does not ring a bell, he is famous for two other Atari games. The first was Raiders of the Lost Ark in 1982, and the second, famous for its infamy, was E.T. the Extraterrestrial, also in 1982. Now, I couldn't get exact sales figures on where Yar's Revenge ranks among the all-time best 2600 games. Warshaw himself has claimed that all of his games have sold at least 1 million copies. With Yar's Revenge, I couldn't quite verify that. I saw one list that put it as the number 20 in the all-sellers list, but just listed it as 1 million copies, and along with a whole bunch of other things. And I saw another one that put it somewhere in the 30s. With just under 1 million copies. But it's safe to say that this was a pretty impressive part of any 2600 owner's library. So without further ado, let's buzz off. I did a sound test earlier on this. Everything should be all hunky-dory. And I'm going to warn you ahead of time, there are going to be flashing lights. Oh boy, are there going to be flashing lights. Atari Archive did a video that has the sales details in it. Okay. And yeah, no promo video. There was a lot of stuff about Yar's Revenge from back in the day. This was actually in major commercial rotation too. Okay, so a few things we have. First, that little dash creeping towards us is the destroyer missile. We are safe from it here in the negative zone, which is actually the remnants of a destroyed planet. Razak 3. I'm sorry, Razak 4. In here is the Qotile. Qotile. That is how it's pronounced according to Warshaw, so I'm going to stick with it. And here we have the swirl. We are not safe from the swirl anywhere. So if you notice, the Qotile will flash and start turning slowly towards red. When it gets close to red, that's when the swirl is going to form. And I'm going to run right into it like a moron. But proof of concept, you're not safe in there. Okay, so what you need to do, that thing on the left is the Zorlon cannon, and that's what we need to destroy the Qotile. So to get that going, we need to either eat some blocks away from the shield, or touch the Qotile. And the Qotile is safe to touch as long as it is not in the swirl form. And just proof of concept, you can actually hit the swirl and destroy the Qotile and end the level that way. One sec. Okay. And now we have the second pattern for the barrier. You can get up on it and hit it even faster. It is also possible to destroy the swirl in mid-flight. Not easy, but possible. You do have to be careful with the way you eat away the with the way you eat away the barrier. Proof of concept there, by the way. When you have the Zorlon cannon ready, the next button press will fire that instead of shooting out the little pellets. But you do have to be careful with eating the shield, because I have had it... Yep, swirl down. And a little Easter egg there. So, Howard Scott Warshaw loved to put his initials in things. It was a big thing for programmers to try to sneak that into Atari games, because the people in charge, in this case Ray Kassar, hated it, and it took up RAM, but they like to do it anyway. So the trick there, and I'm amazed I pulled it off the first time, if you destroy the swirl in midair, there is a vertical black line that appears among the explosion. And it actually is referenced in the manual. The manual calls it the Ghost of Yars, and it warns player to stay off of its, quote, mean streak. So what you need to do is actually get the Yar, the black dot on the Yar lined up with the vertical black line, and be in the lower third of the screen when the explosion fades. And this is the result. We get HSW WSH, Howard Scott Warshaw, and then Warshaw Scott Howard. He did similar things like this in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where there was a reference to Yars' Revenge, and then in E.T., where there was a reference to Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I'm not sure if there was a Yars' Revenge reference or not. But, yeah, all three of the games that Warshaw did for Atari, that were released, I should say, he did this in them. Okay, so with that done, we're going to go ahead and restart, because that does indeed end the game. But I'm glad I got that, because I tried several times during practice, and I didn't manage to do that. I mentioned that Warshaw had 3 games that were released for Atari. There was one he was working on towards Atari's end during '83, when the great video game crash occurred. It was called Saboteur. I don't know actually much about it. I've heard that it was supposed to be set in the same universe as Yars' Revenge, but I couldn't verify that. One thing I do know... You see black line there too, but couldn't do anything about it. One thing I do know, it actually, like I mentioned, Saboteur was unfinished, and thus never released, but it was after Warshaw left Atari, and that was the main reason why it was unfinished. Someone else took it over and started reworking it into an A-Team game. That too was left unfinished and never released. But many years later, some people actually finished Saboteur, made some Atari 2600 cartridge designs, and sold or distributed them somehow. But Warshaw not only gave his blessing on that, he actually autographed a lot of them. And Warshaw stayed busy after he left the game industry. He was a book author, a documentarian. He also received a degree in psychotherapy. He came back to do a documentary on Atari. I forget the exact name of the book, I'll have to put that in, but I think the subtitle is How I Destroyed the Video Game Industry with One Game. Something along those lines. And there is actually going to be a true sequel to Yars' Revenge. It was announced in 2022, originally scheduled for 2023, but I don't think that's happened. And the actual working title of it is called Yars Academy, and Howard Scott Warshaw is back for programming it and developing it. So yes, he is returning to the game that gave him his best fame. And as you can see, as we go up in levels here, the destroyer missile starts getting faster. So is the swirl. Speaking of remakes and alleged sequels to Yars' Revenge, there were several. The first was actually or not the first, I'm sorry. There was one called Yars Return, which was, as far as I know, designed as a sequel, and it was actually on the Atari Flashback 2. There was a on-rail shooter that was designed as a remake of Yars' Revenge in 2011. Oh, so close. But it was rather poorly received, and it was available on 360 and PS3. There was a Yars game. I am scared to look down at my notes. There was a Yars game that was actually a proof of concept. You can hit the swirl while it's there. Now I'll look at my notes. In 2011, there was a Yars Revenge First War. It was a Facebook game, and it was eventually released in 2022 on multiple platforms as Yars Recharged. Yars Recharged. Yeah, exactly. So the one other thing I saw actually while I was looking around, there have been limited editions of several 2600 games, major games in the library, and there's been a whole series of them, and they form together like almost like a bookshelf collection. Yars Revenge is one of the more recent ones out, and it's $75 with the bookcase holder and a copy of the original comic. I did actually find scans of the original manual and the original comic. Oh, that was close. I was just outside the neutral zone there. Could have been bad. Let's see. I'm glancing over my notes nervously just to see if I missed anything, because you know how I am. I'll make 7,000 notes and hope I get through them all, or I will get them through them too fast and have no idea what to say. Oh, I do want to mention we have Wraparound on here. That was a feature on a lot of 2600 games. And this one is especially nice because it gives you a better way to avoid the swirl and the missile. When the missile starts going really fast like this, though, it becomes less advantageous. And it is possible, by the way, to shoot yourself with the Zorlon cannon, so you want to get the hell out of Dodge. I almost got it. If you do run out of things to eat, that's why you can touch the co-tile and get the Zorlon cannon activated. Okay, and now the destroyer missile is going completely nuts, and we're going to have different speeds of. No, okay, that one I am absolutely not taking. Yeah, we're going to have different speeds of the swirl, depending on the color. Holy crap. We are still safe from the destroyer missile in the negative zone, neutral zone, whatever the zone it is. friend zone, I don't know. Oh, a couple of story notes. First, the Yars were actually descended from regular old Earth flies. After a failed space mission, they discovered their planets. And the Zorlon attacked their planets first and vaporized one of them, you know, and 1,000 voices were silenced, yada yada yada. Hadn't heard that one before. Ooh, nice. There is one other thing here in the background of this. So, I mentioned before Atari President Ray Kassar, K-A-S-S-A-R. This was the same guy who had the infamous quote when the Gang of Four who went on to form Activision came looking for some, you know, bonuses for some of the work they did that produced million-dollar games. This was the guy who said, "You are no more important than the guy on the assembly line who puts the labels on the cartridges," and thus made his worst enemy by creating Activision. Shit. So, Warshaw decided to get a little funny. You'll notice if you spell Yar backwards, it's Ray. So, this according to Warshaw, was meant to be Ray's, meant to be Ray's revenge on Activision. We are also in the Razak star system, R-A-Z-A-K. Not quite his last name backwards, but close. Warshaw apparently told one person this. It was someone in marketing, because they weren't sure if they should do that, but he said that Kassar knew and he approved it, but he swore him to secrecy because Kassar actually had no idea. And Warshaw knew that this guy was going to blab to the high heavens. So, mode that reduces the neutral zone to a few lines and another that removes it entirely. Yeah, there are many different difficulty modes. I've heard there's one that makes the swirl track you, but I can't verify that and I'm not about to. And then there is children's mode, easier version of the game, yes. Eventually we're going to get up to a part where the neutral zone completely disappears. Oh yeah, here it is. I'm not as happy as I should be. Let's just get the hell out of here fast. Not that way. Yeah, I'm going to cheat, so what? Shit. Will you get off my tailpipe? And yes, I know, I don't have a tailpipe. I'm a fly alien. That's why it makes it even more imperative. God damn it. Dasher and Blitzen. Oh, fuckage. Okay, yeah, there's one other nasty thing that happens, and I really want to advance enough to be able to show it. Yeah, sweaty hands on the joystick. Oh, yeah. Shit. I had to bring the chat back. I thought I... Oh, damn. Good thing I got out of the way there. Oh, good. hoping I get to show this, but what happens? Eventually the barrier becomes invisible. The wraparound at this point really ceases to be useful in avoiding the destroyer missile, because the thing can just turn on a frickin' dime now. Wow, that was man, that was bullseyeing the heat vent. It's risky being that close to the cannon when it fires. Ugh. It's risky being this close to anything. Damn it. Okay. That's what I was doing wrong. I just wasn't cheating. Yeah. Now look at how fast this damn missile is now. Whoa! Holy shit, that was a close one. I just want to look over this. Oh, by the way, the co-tile is from Planet EP, EPP. So, you know, the Omar singular. Shit! And you can fire diagonally, just proof of concept there. And you can forget you were about to fire a cannon. I have to admit, of all of the Atari 2600 characters and icons and such, the swirls always really impressed me. Wow. It looked like they really shouldn't have been as smoothly animated as they were, but, you know, they move across the screen and you can definitely tell they're still swirling. A little early. Where the hell were you aiming there? It's become one, you know, alien deadly game of I'm not touching you. Or possibly monkey in the middle. Lucky shot. Lucky shot. Ah! Jesus. Give me my neutral zone pack. I want my neutral zone. I don't feel safe outside it. Shit. Yeah, I'll take any zone at this point. Neutral friend. Highway to the danger. Oh, God! Okay, it tracked me. Did you see that? It tracked me. Yeah, it pulled a U-turn. It's officially had it with my shit. Okay, well, I let it off screen. Wow. Okay, I have never gotten this far in the game, probably because I never have rewind. And I could be wrong about that, okay. But it can be outsmarted. I have never actually got to the point where the swirl does that. And I could be mistaken about the invisible barrier. But I could swear I could swear I remembered that. I'll have to look that up. But I think that was pretty impressive for one showing, and I believe I got everything I needed to say in. So thank you very much for joining me on this journey. And you know, I gotta say, for once, I'm happy to have a computer bug. So take care. Until we game again. This episode's Son of Return of Revenge of the Fly 2 was made possible by Mike Panza, Viceroy Scorn, Rick in Baltimore, Tristan R. Dunn, D. Ioti, Jumpy Cat, the post-production contributions of Matthew Carr Anderson, and all my buzzworthy lycanthro fans. Thank you very much for your continued support. Until we game again.